Hi everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I'm reviewing a fountain pen from Laban. Refill your soul by writing. This is the Lebon Sun and this was sent to me by Laban for review. So let's delve in. Now Laban is a Taiwanese company founded in 1981 and they make really nice fountain pens. They have a large range of pens, and this particular one is the third in this current series. So this is how it comes packaged. Cardboard outer box. So there with the logo on the top and a little label to say what you're getting. And then we get this nice clamshell box. Oh, upside down. There we go. Plastic sleeve and everything, and that logo in the top there. And then the pen itself. So this is the Lebon Sun. Now I've seen this labelled as the Laban 325 and the Sun variant of that. As I said, this is the third in the series. There was a ocean which was blue and a forest which was green, and this is the Sun, and it is this lovely bright orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the pen. We'll do a writing sample. I'll say some pros and cons and give some measurements and all of that sort of stuff. So, as I said, this is a Taiwanese company and they make these pens from an acrylic resin, and as you can see here, there's two different sorts of resins on this pen. There's this beautiful bright marbled orange, and then this cream coloured, ivory coloured resin, which is obviously designed to emulate ivory, and I think it does a really, really lovely job. At the top of the pen we get the medallion with the Laban L, and then some leaves on there. And then some gold bands, and the clip, which is fairly rigid but more than usable. The center band, which is laser engraved there with Laban and nothing else. Off the cap we get two more gold bands, this beautiful orange resin, another gold band, and then it tails off on this ivory coloured end cap. So it's quite nice. This is an standard international cartridge converter pen. So because of these metal components, you can't eyedrop it or anything like that. But the converter is included with the pen. It's a screw cap pen, and it takes 1.5 to 1 3/4 turns to take it off. And then we get these threads, which are not sharp at all. There's not much of a step down off the barrel there. A tapered section with a little flare on the end, and then a standard number 6 Yovo made nib, which has been branded for Laban. There, 3952, which I think is the height of a mountain. Laban, and can't quite read that. My eyes aren't good enough. Germany, because the nib is Yovo made, and then the M for medium. This is a medium, standard sort of plastic feed, and just a really sort of nice, sort of simple, classy pen. And so this is a resin, like an acrylic resin, not celluloid or anything like that, but it's a nice feel in the hand. The material feels great. The pen does technically post onto that ring there, but it does make quite a big pen, and also back weights, because a lot of the weight of this pen is in the cap. And yeah, it's sort of not the most secure of capping, and I would be concerned about this sort of cracking around here if you're capping it too often. So, but the size of the pen, you don't really need to post it anyway. It's quite a decent size, and also a very nice weight and well balanced when unposted. As I said, it's a good weight, it's a good build. The threads are nice. The threads into the converter here are metal on metal, which is good. It's nice and sturdy. As I said, the laser branded converter there, looks like a Schmidt, is included. I've been using this pen for a few weeks, and I have to say I have really, really enjoyed it. It's not without its faults. There are a couple of minor issues, but really nothing too bad, and nothing that is insurmountable in terms of the use of the pen. Okay, so let's talk the price of this pen, and then we'll do some size comparisons and measurements, all that sort of stuff. This pen, the full price is about 140 US, but it retails for between 110 and 120 depending on where you go. It's available in fine, medium and broad nibs, but seeing as though it's a standard number 6, you could probably swap it out if you decide to do that. Measurements. Well, first, size comparison. So here is the Laban, and we'll put it next to the standard Lamy Safari here. So you can see it's a little bit longer and considerably girthier, and it is a much heavier pen as well. A couple of other pens I thought were interesting to compare it to were the Esterbrook Esty, the new one, here in the cobalt blue, and if I move this one down, I can put this here. We get the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero, which is slightly smaller, but I think these are sort of pens that are sort of comparable to a degree for a few reasons, like pricing and the materials and things like that. So just an interesting comparison there. Yeah. Now, the size of this pen. So when it's capped, it's about 150 millimeters. Uncapped, it's about 131, which, as I said, is a good size in the hand. I don't think many hands would need to use this necessarily posted. Posted though, when you do post it, it's 172, but as I said, I don't think you really need to with this pen. And the grip section is about 11 millimeters there in the middle. The weight of the pen is 36 grams, 14 in the cap and 22 in the body. So the balance is quite nice. One thing I failed to mention earlier is the gold furniture on this pen. Now, as you can see, there's the medallion, there's the rings, there's the cap, there's the center band, there's two more rings, and there's a ring on the end there. These are obviously, gold colored, not gold necessarily, but I think they make a nice balance on the pen. The two, on the cap and the barrel there do make sort of a nice partner for each other. The one on the end there, if, it's a larger band, I think it's well balanced. I think the ivory and the gold works really well together. It'll be interesting to see sort of what other resins that come out in this series. Personally, I would love to see a purple would be great. Tying that in terms of the theme, ocean, forest, sun, might be a bit tricky, but a dark blue like the cobalt blue here from the Esterbrook Esty, I think would look amazing. You could call it midnight or midnight sky or something like that. Or another one would be sort of a nice sort of rich grey. As long as they maintain this sort of, this brilliance in the material and the chatoyance and that sort of thing, would be really very cool. So let's do a writing sample and then we'll talk about pros and cons. So here I have some Clairefontaine paper and I have the Lebon Sun, also known as the 325 occasionally. It's got a number 6 steel Yovo medium nib. As I said, it's available in fine, medium and broad, and the ink here is Diamine. This is from the 150th anniversary series, Blood Orange. Okay, so let's do the writing. So this is a very smooth nib. There's a tiny hint of feedback on it, but it's not unpleasant at all. I would consider this to be on the smoother side. It's not scratchy in any direction, and as a left-handed writer, you are very aware if a pen is scratchy with that nature of pushing it across the page. It is a rigid nib. You are not going to get line variation out of this. If you push down, you'll let more ink down onto the page, but you are not spreading the tines, so it's definitely not soft at all. It is well tuned and it is quite wet, which I really, really appreciate. In terms of reverse writing, certainly possible and quite smooth. If this is what you do for your sketching or if you need to sign on cheaper paper, then this is more than possible. In terms of writing under its own weight, absolutely no problem whatsoever. The balance of this pen is quite nice. It's not necessarily heavy down onto the nib, but it does feel like it's nicely balanced in your hand. But as I said, a smooth, wet, sort of generous nib, and in terms of the right-handed, I won't try and write, but just sort of do some, the right-handed experience is very similar, smooth, and as I said, a lovely, generous flow. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this pen then. Okay, so let's start with the cons. I have only two. Now, I'm not saying this is a perfect pen. I really like the pen. I think it's a beautiful pen in the hand. It writes so well. If they came out with one of those colors, I would definitely consider getting one. In fact, I probably would if one or two of them came out. But there are a couple of things just to be aware of. The first one is the threads here to cap the pen. They're not the best. They're not super smooth, and there's like a little point where it sort of grips down and you feel like you actually have to work it through it. You can actually hear that. And so they're not the most pleasant of threads. The other thing is, and I've experienced this more than a lot of other pens, is you get ink in the cap a lot. There's a little bit in there now. That's just from everyday carry. Now, I'm pretty careful when I carry my pens. I have them in nice cases. I don't throw them around. They're always kept upright. But somehow, lying this pen down, moving it around, you do get ink in the cap. I'm not sure if you can make that out. And what happens is that ends up in the threads here. And because this is such a light material, you are going to get that color coming through, and I'm afraid that it might stain. I've been able to get most of it out, but into the threads there, that's going to take actual, some proper actual cleaning. Those are really the only cons. If we're talking about pros of this pen, the weight, it's a really nice feeling in the hand. 22 grams unposted is a beautiful weight in the hand, and the balance is really great when it's unposted. Now the nib. It is a standard Yovo made nib. It's nicely branded and it looks nice, particularly with the gold trim on this pen. But it writes so well. It's not super wet, but as you can see in the writing sample, it's certainly wet enough. The flow is excellent. I've never found the pen to dry out. The feed keeps up beautifully. It's just a really well-tuned writing experience. Another thing I love is this ivory resin. And it's the same resin on the other models of this pen as well. And it's beautiful. There's a slight veining through it. It's just really quite nice. It looks great and it feels really nice. The build quality of this pen is fabulous. It's robust, it's sturdy. Those threads into the metal threads there into the barrel are great. When the pen is posted, it feels secure. The clip's secure. It's just a really well-made pen. And this is the first Laban pen that I've had the pleasure of using, and I'm hoping to, of course, use more. But it's something that I have heard about other Laban pens, is that they are well-crafted writing instruments. Beautiful. Now, the last pro is the price. Now, it's not a cheap pen. It's not a Lamy Safari, which is not a cheap pen, but you are going to spend upwards of $100 for this pen. Now, is that worth it? Well, for me, I think yes. Yes, it's a steel nib, and you are getting into a price range where you can get some gold nibs. But I think the build quality of this pen, the unique sort of look of it, the beautiful materials, I think this is well worth the price. So this was the Lebon Sun. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here or on my email, which is listed below. If you've got questions or anything, get in touch, or if you've got products you think I should be looking at, let me know. If there's a way you'd like to support the channel, either by sponsoring a review or providing a product for review, get in touch and let's see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you later.